You doing?
Good. How about you?
Good, thank you. Today's going to be a fun show. We actually should have already kicked off, but at the last minute, we got a rearrangement from an in-studio guest to a phone guest, and we were actually going to give you a little bit of OT, starting the show a little early. I'm not sure. Could they have watched, by the way?
Yeah. Oh, no.
They couldn't have watched?
No.
Okay, they couldn't have watched, and the audio would have been recorded for later, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why couldn't they have watched? We couldn't turn on the camera?
Because then it would start a show post on.
Ah. And could we do it without a show post? Like, this is just a video?
Just a video, yeah, but not live.
Gotcha. All right. Well, maybe that's something we can figure out. But yeah, that's gone, and we're just having our normal show starting off here in about a minute, right, Danny?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. Okay. So, on today's show is Audie Attar, Conor McGregor's manager. If you looked at that video yesterday of Conor McGregor and Paulie Malignaggi getting into it verbally, it all starts with Audie and Paulie having some words. And depending if you got MMA Weekly's feed or Helen Yee, I believe, had another feed, depending on what angle you saw, you could hear them talking about the video that was put out. Paulie didn't like it. Audie was giving him his reasons for why they did it. And then, of course, Conor comes in like half a second later, and those guys have some words. And that was that. Yeah, can we play it? It's quick,
No,
right?
I'm saying. Like
Oh, yeah. And, but we'll do it after the show.
Oh, I thought you wanted it for the show.
No, no.
Oh, you want it for your.
For the video,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So, Audie will be on, and Greg La Rosa, he's back, one of the security guards for Floyd Mayweather. He's kind of like their lead guy. He doesn't like to admit it, but from what I hear, he's their lead guy. So he's usually closest to Floyd, and he's been doing it for 4 years. So we'll catch up with him, just see what this week's been like. I'm sure it's been pretty much nonstop because Floyd Mayweather has some unusual hours. And we'll also talk to Javier Mendez. He is Daniel Cormier's head coach, and we'll get his thoughts on John Jones testing positive yesterday. He got flagged for a potential anti-doping violation, according to USADA, and we will fill you in on that, what we've heard so far in regards to that. And in the show, it starts in about 15 seconds. So it's going to be a fun show, man. May Mac talk, John Jones talk. 866-522-2846. Call in.
Coming up. Stand by.
What is the name of.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me as always is the devious and dastardly Goes. Ari's co-host. Backy's handling all the producing duties. It's Danny Otto, and of course the newest member of the team. If you haven't heard by now, it's the MMA analyst Dan Tom, hovering in the back, but you will see him on camera soon. What's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm a little tired. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. You party again last night?
Yeah.
Where'd you guys head this time?
We went to see Michael Jackson 1. And
Oh, yeah?
And then we ended up over at Todd English. And then we ended up at the Monte Carlo. And then we went to bed at like 3 a.m.
Wow. How's the new Michael, or have they redone
They changed it a little bit, yeah. It was cool.
The last time I saw it, I believe, was the 2015 Junkie Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
So, 2 years. It changed.
Mm-hmm.
3 years.
It's been 3 years, hasn't it?
Well, if we saw it in the 2015 Junkie Gathering, then it's been 2 for me. I didn't. It took me a year to see it. It launched, I think, in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see a lot of MMA folk?
Not really. What I did see, though, was a lot of people reacting to the big news.
Yeah.
The John Jones stuff. Do you have something?
No.
Oh. I couldn't believe it. When I saw it, I had to see multiple sources just to know that I wasn't being trolled.
Yeah, and the fake news thing.
Fake news.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I saw it as well. It was a link. It was just somebody saying, "Oh no, not again." And for some reason, I clicked it, and it led me to TMZ Sports, which talked about John Jones being flagged for potential anti-doping violation for use of a steroid, is how they wrote, and he will be stripped. So they already jumped to that conclusion. And I went to Twitter. Twitter's on this thing, you know. Junkie hadn't posted anything yet. And I went to Twitter, and it was all over the place. And I go, God damn. That's the first thing I reacted to. Was just, I cannot. I mean, I couldn't believe it, guys, for about 30 seconds. And then when I stopped myself and I thought, wait a minute, I can believe it. Like, literally, this is what John Jones does. And I know the man's got to get his fair day in court. But what are we going to do? Wait to talk about it until then? Come on, man. We have to react. And I'm telling you, USADA has had cases in the past that have been thrown out, or there have been some arbitration, reduction of sentences, suspensions, or whatever. But on the surface, this does not look good.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks, man. It really sucks because, you know, I mean, July 29th was UFC 214, and I've still been gleaming about that show, man. It was really something else. Even just when it resurfaced again, talking to Ricardo, and, you know, we had lunch with Ricardo later on. We just talked about the night of events, how special it was, and how it was the show of the year. And now it's tainted like that.
I think we had different reactions then. I normally would have a reaction where I would think, man, what is this dude? Is a division? I can't believe that sort of thing. My first reaction was, man, Daniel Cormier got his head kicked off for no reason. For nothing. That sucks. That was the first thing I was thinking, was all that crying, everything he went through, all for nothing.
Well, as a fan, I probably had a little bit of a similar reaction to you, but...
And that's not me being like a friend of his or anything. That was more of a fan reaction. It really was.
Right. But as a media, I also know that, like I say, in not only the history of USADA, but testing before that, mistakes have been happening. And I realize it's a long shot. So I have to balance doing our job and informing everybody that, hey, there's not, don't all meet us at 5 p.m. We're all going to, stone this guy to death. That's not going to happen. I mean, it has to go through its process. That's why the UFC threw out a blanket statement. That's why, not only Dana White but Jeff Novinsky were just limited on their details. And that's that. You're right. You start breaking it down as a fan and thinking about it and probably the reality of it because of John's past. It's unfortunate that Daniel Cormier, who had his suspicions, probably, wasted his time on July 29th.
But doesn't Dana usually kind of paint a picture of, hey, let's let due process play out? This time he was very somber, and he just said, I'm not sure we're ever going to see this guy fight again.
Probably.
And like usually when he's got info behind the scenes, he'll kind of hint towards it. This
Yeah.
time,
It was
nothing.
fresh. I mean, he heard it at the Tough Gym, and I think he only had the 2 hours to process it while he was watching fights and determining the future. So anyway, we will talk about it a little bit more, but right now we got to get to our first guest, and his name is Greg LaRosa. He works for the Money Team. Come in, Greg. How you doing, man?
Yes.
All right. Good to see you again.
Pleasure to be back.
Greg LaRosa, folks. That's Ray, right?
Hey, what's going on?
Ray Vinci. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
How you doing, Ray?
So Ray, this goes. Welcome, guys, to MMA Junkie Radio. Hello.
Sir.
Well, yeah, no problem. The mic's right behind you.
Sir.
How you guys doing?
You
Yeah.
know, same old, man.
Yeah.
Busy, doing good. You know, I had to make time for you guys.
Thank you, man.
Of course. Of course.
I gotta imagine this week is whirlwind, but you know, like you told us before, you know, being part of Floyd and his team is kind of whirlwind 24/7 at times.
Always, man. Always from morning to night.
Mm-hmm.
From morning to night, we don't stop. He trains late at night sometimes, and you know we're up early, you know, on this interview show, and then you know we're at the between the weigh-ins or the grand arrivals. We got crazy shit happening this week for us.
All right, let's just jump right into it. The
Let's do
grand
it.
arrivals. People were talking a lot about Connor and Paulie, but I'm hearing before that your entourage and him, you guys crossed.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, he came up to us and said, "Hey, do you guys want to do a face-off here?" Kind of like a high school punk move, but whatever. I mean, I don't blame him. He might be a little scared for the fight, so maybe that's his way to try to get under Floyd's skin for the last time. But it's not working, man. It's not working.
Did
so
Floyd respond to him directly, or was that more towards you guys?
I mean,
Floyd?
go ahead.
Floyd said we can face off anywhere, here, later, wherever you want.
Yeah.
Just like the 8-ounce gloves. You want 8 ounce? No problem. We made it happen. You want 4 ounce? What do you want? 10 ounce?
I mean,
Enough excuses.
yeah, I mean, I feel like Connor he just intimidated by Floyd, and he's trying to make any excuse, you know, to say, hey, you don't want to fight and 10 ounce. You know, I've been fighting for 4-ounce gloves for a long time, but you know, why are we fighting for 10 ounce? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're a fighter, you're gonna fight at with any ounce of gloves. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you know, Floyd been doing this for 21 years, and he's ready. He never dodge anybody, and one thing we do know, Floyd can fight.
And folks, in case you don't know, last week the Nevada State Athletic Commission did allow a one-time exemption for the fighters to use 8-ounce gloves, even though this fight will be taking place at 154 pounds, super welterweight. Usually they go with 10 ounce there. And a lot of people don't know that Floyd, he's only really fought at super welterweight, what, 4 times?
Four
so
times.
he's usually used the 8-ounce gloves
Was
anyway,
it 4
right?
times? It might have been only twice.
It was Canelo for sure, Oscar,
Canelo.
and I think there
Canelo
was a
was
couple other ones.
152, wasn't it?
151, they agreed.
150, yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
once you pass 47, I guess they call it super
Yeah,
welterweight.
exactly. Anything over 147 is supposed to be in 10-ounce gloves.
But he's been in 8-ounce gloves most of his life, so he's very
Yep.
comfortable in 8-ounce gloves.
He's
Absolutely.
fine. He's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
There's no worry. There's no worry at all. I mean, it's just gonna make it worse for Connor.
And he's eating burgers, riding
Yeah.
bikes, or
Yeah,
I'm not riding bikes. Well, riding bikes I saw in one of the all actions,
Yeah.
but
Skating.
roller skating, yeah.
Being in this strip club all night,
Yeah,
every
but
night.
make no mistake, he's ready. Make no mistake about it.
Now, how is he in the strip club? He's supposed to be trained. Which one does he do at 3:30 a.m.? Strip club or the training?
Little of both.
Yeah.
Little of both.
I
Training
saw-
over to the strip club, back to training.
I
Yeah.
saw I saw him post that he'd be at Girl Collection all week. Has he
Yeah.
held that up?
That's right.
So far.
He was at Girls Collection last night.
Yeah.
So far.
Yep.
You guys going there tonight?
I mean, we might stop by, check it out, see
He
what's
says the
going
fan.
on.
He actually invited the fans to come out and
Absolutely.
hang out.
We'll stop by and check it out.
Do you have to lace the skates on as well? Are you a good skater?
I am a good skater. I played
Yeah?
professional roller hockey.
That's right.
Yeah.
roller hockey,
I am a good
okay.
skater. I can skate.
Remember he told us he was a goon? I mean, defense.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I did. That's what I did. I got suspended almost every year, so maybe my skating's not as good as some of the other guys, but it's fine.
I think the suspensions came because of other reasons.
Well,
huh?
yeah, because of the goon
Oh, okay,
reason.
yeah.
I mean the skating reason.
Yeah.
All right. And how about you, Ray? Do you skate as well?
I don't. You know, I tried it, and it's just I can't
Me
balance
neither.
myself.
I tried it.
I'm really
I
bad.
can
keep
do a
on
lot of
falling
things.
and falling
I can
all
hit
the
a
time.
baseball, shoot a basketball, throw a football. I cannot skate.
Me either.
When I do, I think I'm on the verge of a fall where I'll break my wrist.
Absolutely.
I'm afraid of
I'm,
the
I'm
what
like
is it,
you.
the coccyx, the
Yeah.
tailbone.
The
I don't
tailbone.
want to mess that one.
Oh, that's no good.
Ice skating, roller skating, it's just not
Forget it.
part of my immediate
It's not
future.
for me either.
But you guys do that every Sunday night, or has that just been a recent thing?
Pretty much if we're in town every Sunday night, he'll go he'll go over there. It's a nice little pastime for us. He likes it, enjoys it. It's good for the whole family to go out. No one bugs us over there. It's nice, you know.
He does it for cardio basically because he
That's
does
true.
it for
You guys
like
were sweating. Those guys.
yeah. He does it like for when he's in there. He does. I mean, he goes around the whole thing for 3-4 hours. So that's a lot of cardio right there.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on here. So they're following you guys. So the TMT team all around, or
no? These are just mine and Ray's guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the best camera guys there is.
Absolutely.
And they're our guys right now. So we got
24/7 as well.
No, not quite. We're not gonna show our hand yet, but we got stuff going on as well. Me and Ray aren't just on the sidelines working out. So we'll let people know that pretty soon.
Are they gonna show your house? We can see the 3 horses.
Possibly,
Yeah.
possibly.
3
yeah.
horses, right?
I got 3 horses. I got 3 horses. I'm living, south of the M over there, way back into the desert, where there's absolutely nothing but my house and a couple other things and a couple shotguns and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
Sending a message there. Don't be stealing horses.
No, but I live in a peaceful part of town. We're in the limelight all the time.
Right.
There's a lot going on, man. So I go back and I sit on my swing with my lady, and I just look at the mountains, and that's it. That's what I do.
Is this week rivaling Pacquiao week?
Weight kills it.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's just more of a buzz. I mean, yesterday was only Tuesday, and things are already setting off.
The thing with this fight is Floyd doesn't have to pick up the slack where Pacquiao couldn't bring the shit talk. So Connor's doing his bit, of course, and it's good for Floyd, so he doesn't have to be so out there about it.
Floyd's turning it up a little bit now, right? So
he has to, because Connor, I mean, you got to give it to Connor, because he's been doing it for how long? 4 years only? I mean, one thing we do know, he can sell the fight. He's a good, he can sell the fight, and that's all it is. But at the end of the day, we all know that he ain't no boxer.
What'd you think of the sparring? You guys had the open workouts, the media day, Floyd at the Floyd Mayweather gym, Connor at the UFC PI. Your reaction to Connor's workout?
It's embarrassing. Seriously, he's embarrassing himself. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking. If he's gonna fight like this in front of Floyd, he's gonna get killed.
Can you guys talk a little bit about the boxing culture and the sparring? What happened with Connor and Paulie and leaking footage and all that? What's like the culture within your team?
It's just bad ethics, man. At the end of the day, nothing should have been leaked. That should have been like nothing going back and forth. I mean, I don't know whose part it's on, but I mean, maybe they should both just chill out. But I kind of understand Paulie's part, because he went there and he's trying to give the guy work, and then they're clowning on him, saying that he beat Paulie up. But I mean, we saw 15 seconds of a video where he hit him once. Was that the only shot he got? Who knows? Maybe Connor's an amazing boxer. Who knows? Maybe he's gonna come out and friggin' put a clinic on for Floyd. We don't know. We'll see.
Is it easy to brush all that stuff off, or are you like us that we get just enthralled in the drama and have to break everything down?
Extremely easy to brush off. We deal with this every single day. Floyd's been doing it for 21 years, and we get the brunt of it as well, So it's really easy for us to brush off between that and all like Connor's antics, and it's so easy. Like as soon as it's over, it's
entertaining.
Yes, very.
Is it actually kind of like funny sometimes?
100%, all the time. It's funny. It's really funny when you see Connor go crazy and they got all hold him back and stuff. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, and his whole team kind of, whatever. I mean, they came up to us at that arrival. So I mean, that's on them. I mean, we did the Voltron thing.
What you did?
No, we did the Voltron thing at
over there.
The first one. Yeah. So I guess
they're trying to do a version of Voltron to you guys.
Yeah, they had an argument. So no, he just said, "Do you want to face off here?" And Voltron was in front of Floyd, so we were ready. But
did you ever get to the face off or?
Not really.
No, it wasn't. Really. It wasn't. It was just kind of yelling back and forth. But again, it
was pretty close, but not really.
It's good. It's good for advertising the fight as well. It's just two professionals knowing what they're doing, and we got to conduct them in a professional manner. So that's what we did.
We've gotten to know Greg before, but I wanted to ask you, Ray. He's very reserved and hung back. He's doing his job. You seem to be a little bit more of a loose cannon. Is that accurate?
I'm a little more crazy.
You won't hesitate to step in. So what's all this been like for you, man? Like, is it hard to hold back? Because you know, it's such a build-up, and then everybody's getting in each other's faces and testosterone, and I believe you were one of the two that he called Juicehead as well. So, like, what are you holding in?
I mean, at the end of the day, he can call me whatever he wants to, but I've been through this sport before. I used to fight pro back in Europe, so
Boxing?
MMA. So I used to go to school overseas. I graduated over there, so I used to do pro MMA and travel different countries in Europe and fight. Nothing big, but just a little fight here, there, get a little money. Try to pay for my, for my allowance and stuff in the school. So, but me and him were a little different. He liked to stay with his girl, chill with his horses and dogs and stuff. I'm more outgoing, outspoken. I just roll different.
Big brother, little brother. I gotta hold him back sometimes. I don't want to.
He's more like layback, but I'm a little more crazy and wild. So I have a different lifestyle. Floyd been family to me since day one. He treat me like a family. I got to work for Floyd. Got to know Floyd, throughout his cousin and some of his best friend. And then ever since then, Floyd saw me and he liked me, and I got myself, into the TMT team. And of course, I had to bring my big brother out, to come join us. And ever since then, I got to know Floyd more and more, and start showing my loyalty. And Floyd loves me and I love him back.
We're both here for a reason.
Yeah.
And our job is to make sure that outside of the MMA game or the boxing game, nothing happens to Floyd. And we're going to make sure that we're going to make sure our job is taken care of. So those guys that, like, Connor and his group or whatever, whoever they are, they want to concentrate inside the ring. Our thing is to concentrate outside of the ring. Those are our jobs are a little different. So that's what we do.
And I grew up in the street, so this is nothing new for me. So Floyd wouldn't have me around for no reason. So, and as I said, he lives a different lifestyle. I have a luxury penthouse. I live in a penthouse that it costs $1.2 million. I have Bentley.
Here in Vegas?
Yeah, I have Bentley. I have Range Rover, Corvette. I have 4 or 5 cars. I live a different. And Floyd, showed me love since day one, and he gave me jewelries, necklaces, and everything.
Damn. Nice. All right.
I know that you guys, being around Floyd, you have to anticipate his moods, his actions, his reactions. But what amongst you guys? Are you pretty good at anticipating what the other guy's going to do? Like, how long does it take to get that repertoire between each other?
I mean, with me and him, I feed off his energy. I know where he's at all times. He knows where I am. If something does go on, we know that we're shoulder and shoulder. So if you got to take one of us out, you got to take us both out.
I'm going to ask you a little bit of a silly question.
Okay.
Let's just say today Floyd Mayweather said, I don't need anybody anymore. I'm done. I'm going to move to an island or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there another athlete or celebrity that you guys always thought would be kind of fun to be around?
No.
None of them?
I wouldn't do this.
I would
You
never
wouldn't do it for anyone else?
Me either.
Oh,
That
wow.
would be my. I told Floyd that I'll stick with him till the end of the line, and this is it for me.
This fight.
No, I mean, we're gonna be. A lot of people think, oh, what these guys gonna do? Though, they ain't got no job, no money, or this and that. I mean, we live in a comfortable life, and we're gonna be with Floyd even after the fight. We okay, so we're comfortable. So we're gonna be with Floyd even after the fight for a very long time. And
a lot of the celebrities, they have agencies where security is hired out of. Floyd doesn't do that. He handpicks everything. So, like, the job that I'm in is much better. It's like a friendship. Like, him and I are close to him. We're friends with Floyd, as opposed to just his employee. Like, hey, you're my employee. Do this, do that. No, it's like, hey, what's up, guys? Let's go here. We go to the gym with Floyd. We hang out with Floyd. Like, we go places with him, even outside of work. But our job is to make sure he's protected at all times, and that's like, what we understand is that. At the end of the day, that is our job, and we don't need to, think outside the box of that. Like, we got him as a friend, and that's our job, and that's what we do.
His safety is our priority. I don't care what anybody want to say. Oh, these guys are Juicehead. These guys are this and that. We've been doing it for a very long time. We know how to operate on the street. So, I mean, we're here for a reason.
How long have you been with Floyd, Ray?
5 years.
5 years. Okay. And then what was the tour like? The 4-city tour, L.A. Toronto, Brooklyn, London. Maybe sum it up, I guess. Did you enjoy it? Was it stressful? Did you hate it?
I mean, it was unbelievable. You know, the whole energy, the whole thing, it was just amazing. So, I've been around Florida for a very long time, as I said, but this tour was very different, right, Greg? It was just unbelievable. The whole energy, the whole hype up the fight, you know. With Pacquiao, it was, boring. There was nothing going back and forth with this. Conor, as I said, Conor, he can sell it, and Floyd definitely can sell it also. So the whole energy was amazing.
Yeah. And when you were brought into it, when Conor addressed you guys, again, Greg is, he's more reserved. But what was your reaction at that time? Were you fuming, or did you feel like it was, just part of the act and you're a character? Like, what was going through your mind?
Greg is always calm and chill. He tried to, be on control of situation, but I'm a little more like a crazy dude. So, I just can't take a lot of shit talking. So I just go straight to the point. So, but at the end of the day, we have to act professional because this is a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
But if Floyd would have given me a green light, I would have go 100%.
Oh, all right. Check him out. He's that close.
He does. I mean, he does. He does.
There you go. All right. This is Ray Vinci, and this is Greg LaRosa. They're part of the money team, TMT. Ray, I asked Greg this, so it's not like I'm picking you individually, but we ask all of our in-studio guests, can you share a good street fight story with us? It appears you have no shortage of them either. You said you grew up from the streets. What streets? What city?
With Floyd or being around Floyd?
No,
or
growing up, I guess, as a young man.
I mean, I grew up in a very, very wealthy family, but unfortunately, my mom and dad did divorce. So I stick with my mom. I grew up in Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, and
so the main streets of Brooklyn, then.
Right.
Okay.
So unfortunately, ever since my dad left me, I tend to run to the street and work my way up. So I got to know a lot of different people, and that's how I grew up on the street. So I'm not gonna say what type of thing happened to me or who did I involve with, but at the end of the day, I'm here for a reason, and Floyd knows that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about the street fight story? You left that out.
I'm not gonna talk about that, but
you can't share it.
I'm just gonna leave that alone.
All right. Wow. Usually people that get involved in that have something from the archives 10 years ago,
especially
15
Brooklyn.
years ago, something harmless, junior high school.
I mean, I've been on the street for a long time, so I had the situation that there was a lot, shootout situation, stabbing situation.
You've been stabbed?
Well, let's not talk about that.
All right. Well, no. All right. We'll leave that alone. Now the burger commercial. I mean, he's obviously has a relationship with Burger King. I've seen him eat burgers in the past. Mm-hmm. Or that along with side trips to Miami. Is there just maybe a lesser intensive camp for this fight than others?
I don't want to say lesser intensive camp, but Floyd's concentrating on resting his body now that he's a bit he's a bit older. So this camp has been more about. I mean, make no mistake, he trains like an animal, but it's about resting his body and not overtraining and not hurting himself to get out there. So he's ready. He doesn't need to learn how to box, so we know that he doesn't need to brush up on his skill. It's just he needs to get his timing back, which he got that long ago. And his sparring is unbelievable. The man's ready, man.
Have you guys been around Floyd when videos of Conor's training has come out, and do you know what's his reaction been like?
Man,
it's funny.
It's just funny. Just clown on him all day.
We're just looking. It's funny, but I mean, the check he's gonna get's not so funny to me. I'd love to have that check too, so I can't.
Conor's check?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I can't hate on the guy, man. Mm-hmm. I can't totally hate on the guy at all. He deserves to be where he's at, and his all these antics that he's using on us it's what got him there. So I understand that's part of the reason why it doesn't rile me up, and that's part of the reason why I'm calm and cool about it, because I understand what's going on. And I'm there. I'm part of the show, so I'm part of the thing. So I mean, it's fun. I'm blessed.
Fighting Floyd is like winning a lottery, basically. I mean, look what happened to McDonough. Retired right after fighting Floyd 2 times. I mean, this man, he at this level. I mean, we around him 24/7. He got shitload of money. He does not need to fight. But I mean, if there's a good fight, why not? If there's a lot of money, I mean, you got to offer Floyd a lot of money in order for him to fight again. So I mean, he's a totally he's 100% entrepreneur. He got high rises in New York. He got hotels. I mean, he got tons of houses, tons of cars. I mean, jewelry.
He's all right.
He's all right. He's doing good.
He's good
a lot of people talking about, oh, he got tax problem, this and that. Man, he's doing okay.
Keep believing all the media.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one you should believe is this show right here.
Exactly. Us.
Come Saturday night, have you guys already thought about like what your last words will be to him before he enters?
To Floyd?
Yeah. Is it always the same, or
maybe.
is it different from
just
opponent
let
to
him know
opponent?
that this is what, like this night is basically what sums up his inspiration, like how I become inspired of him, like all that, like how the crowd is just they're going wild. Like for the Pacquiao fight, the crowd was going wild, and like I was getting nervous. I'm like, how do you? And I always ask him, how do you do it? You don't get nervous? He goes, nah, not at all. He goes, under the lights is when I shine. So that's it. It really inspires me. So seeing him in that element is like the most inspirational thing, because like, you know, him hanging out with us is like me hanging out with him. We're friends. So I don't see him like, oh, that's Floyd Mayweather on TV and stuff like that. But when he's at that fight, it's almost like, that's who I work for. That's Floyd Mayweather right there. So it's very inspiring.
I feel like Floyd is like a Michael Jackson inside the ring. I mean, basically sum it up like that. So I mean, the way he moves, he has the highest IQ in the boxing. So for Conor just to even think he got a chance, he got to be out of his mind. I mean, as Floyd always say to us, common sense ain't that common. So, I mean, we'll see what he's gonna.
Common sense ain't that common.
It's not. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Never heard that one before.
He ain't no boxer.
Well,
So
he's saying Conor has no common sense.
Gotcha.
he doesn't.
Well, Greg predicted 7 to 8 million pay-per-views. You standing by that, Greg, or is
I
the
stand
number
by it.
shot up or gone
I
down?
still stand by 7 million pay-per-views. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Ray?
I'll say maybe $3 to $4 million.
3 to 4?
Yeah.
No, pay-per-view buys. He's saying how many pay-per-view buys? Pacquiao was what, 5 million, 4.6.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I'll probably say it's 5 to 6 million. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but
fair.
You never know.
And you know what Conor's making? You said.
What's that?
You
What
said
he's
you know
making?
what's Conor's?
No, I don't know what he's making, but it's going to be a shitload of money, I'm sure. I mean, what?
Do you know what Floyd's making?
Yeah,
like,
probably around
kinda
350 million.
Damn.
After all said and done. Yeah, I mean, Conor's
That's just
that's
the
after it's
fight.
all said and done.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
everything.
That's
Well, yeah.
including the pay-per-view and
we're
everything.
talking pay-per-view and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
But it might be more. I mean, if we get 7 million buys, it might be 400 million.
Any,
But you got to understand, Floyd also, you know, when he walks into the ring, he got a lot of, he's doing a lot of advertisement for Hugh Blood and other commercial too. So Hugh Blood is giving
getting
him,
money
I think,
everywhere.
4 or 5 million.
Who knows?
You know,
Yeah.
all that's gonna add. That's like 30, 40 million right there. So
I mean, the gate
they
is all.
sponsor Man U. They're the watchmaker for Man U as well. They're
Right.
based in the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, are they based in the UK?
I think so,
or
right?
France?
All right, yeah.
France.
I know the guy's French, but maybe they're based in the UK.
Maybe,
I don't know.
I guess
Yeah.
I'm assuming because I've seen them
Yeah.
on Manchester United's pitch, you know, the field.
And then
right.
maybe a bunch
They
of us,
sponsor a bunch of soccer player over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
and then
Could
maybe a
be.
bunch of us will win some money since you guys got these out right now.
Have you already put in anything yet?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking I might put my house on it.
The just to win the fight or the KO? The KO is a little bit. You have to put up a little bit less.
No, I'm going with the KO.
The KO.
Well, I mean the stoppage.
Mhm.
I don't know if he'll KO him, but I don't think his corner will stop it either. But that ref's gonna have to feel sorry for him at some point, and he's gonna stop it.
Could you tell Floyd that you put money on him? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He
You
might
know.
put money on himself. Who knows?
are you putting your house? What?
I'm
The
putting,
Corvette or something?
I'm putting 50K.
50K.
Yeah.
On
I mean,
Floyd,
it's a free money. Every time I bet on Floyd, you know, I win money, so I ain't worried about
Yeah,
it.
you're 49-0. Or how many fights do you think you've been with him? Not all 49, right? But how many?
No, I'm
5, 2, 3, at least 5.
Okay.
6, something like that. Something like that.
It's just easy money.
Easy money right there. I mean, it's a free money.
Easy money.
That
Actually,
wouldn't wanna say no,
that's pretty
man.
good, actually.
It is.
But the odds gonna change still, though. I mean,
Minus
as it closer get to the
525.
fight.
It's still 525.
And
It was 600 last Friday.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and people are betting
When you
McGregor.
look at all the other
Look,
fights,
90%
I was
it
gonna
makes
say,
no sense, right?
Look at the heavyweight fights, for example, Klitschko. He's usually what, minus 1,700 to beat somebody. And Floyd is minus 525 to beat a guy who's going to make his pro debut.
So to win 50 G's, Ray, you got to put up 250 to win 50.
Right.
Or are you putting up 50 to win 10?
I'm probably gonna put 50 to win 10.
Okay.
Yeah, that's some. I mean, shit.
Are you putting up the house and the horses, or just the house? Leave the horses out.
I don't know if my girl let me put up the horses, but she might because she's pretty damn confident too. So we'll see. I mean, they're not
You're
going.
expecting easy work.
Wow. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Connor, like I said, maybe Connor will come out and maybe he'll be amazing. Maybe in 3 months or 2 months, whatever it is, he has a lifetime worth of boxing skills. We'll see.
I mean, MMA and the boxing is totally different sport. I mean, at the end of the day, remember boxers are more sharper. I mean, they have a higher IQ when it comes to just using their hands.
They hit different too.
They hit different, you know. So, you know, I box every day before it's trained, so I do sparring. So it's just different, you know. So
where will you guys be situated on fight night? Where's your spot?
Floor.
The floor, but I don't know exactly yet because this is a new venue for us.
Okay.
So it's usually the MGM. He's been fighting there since 2007, since De La Hoya.
T-Mobile.
So now it's T-Mobile. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect.
So if there's a ring, is there a spot for you real close to the ring, or you have to be behind celebs?
Well, we can move around pretty much everywhere.
Might be able to move around.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, with this one. I'll find out the night of. But in terms of a specific seat, again, I'm not exactly sure.
Have you had any run-ins with McGregor's team other than what we heard yesterday, or at all in town? Anything?
No, it's not that serious.
No,
it's it's with Connor and Floyd, and when they get to going, then we get to going. It's like a sport, like I said, like a sports team. Your favorite team, my favorite team. Somebody gets a touchdown, and I'm gonna swear at you. You're gonna swear at me. It's there and it stays there, and that's it.
And you're hoping that Saturday night comes and goes, Floyd wins, stacks some paper, you go home to the horses, to your girlfriend, and that's good. Ray, you're hoping something goes down, or do you want a calm night as well on Saturday?
I mean, whatever happens, it happens. I ain't worried about nothing. This, at the end of the day, you gotta remember, this is our town, our city. So we operate here all the time.
Connor did say something. I was watching one. There's so much.
The
there's
embedded
all access. There's vlogs, but he did say that he's fighting for Vegas to be his town as well.
I mean,
that's
he can
cool.
say what he wants to say, but
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, can't knock him. I guess. Yeah, fight. I mean, think about his training camp, the inspiration that he might have had. He's about to fight the best fighter in the world, so he must have been going pretty hard too. So,
but he wants to take your guys' city.
Okay, you got you got the chance. Go ahead.
Yeah,
take it.
We'll take it. I mean,
take it.
August 26th, that's his chance.
Take it
if he wants.
I know. I was just trying to stir things up.
Even before UFC, there was TMT. TMT. Back in the time, there was no money to it called Filthy Rich. So, I mean, TMT been operating in this town for a very, very long time. So
everyone knows Floyd everywhere you go. All the valets.
This is our home.
The industry is. It's a hospitality industry out here, and a lot to do with tipping and stuff like that. And Floyd is extremely generous, and everybody knows that in the town. So, I mean, it's he gets a lot of respect everywhere he goes. His car will always be up front. He'll always have, the first parking spot everywhere he goes, and the best service everywhere he goes.
I'm gonna give it to you this way. You remember that time? I mean, this happens all the time. We went to the pool party, and then he was like, "Jizzy, come here." As we're about to leave the valet, he gave the valet $1,500.
Damn.
I mean,
that's just a common thing.
We do that all the time.
1,500.
You guys let me know if you come back with Floyd anytime when you need your car parked.
We go to
hop like a kangaroo over them valets to do it for him.
Well, listen, when we go to restaurants, like we'll go, and he likes eating at a lot of mom and pop shops a lot too. So, they might have 8 cooks in the back, whatever, but it's never he never forgets about them either. It might be 5 waiters or waitresses up front. He tips each of them individually, and in the back he'll ask them how many cooks are in the back, and he'll give them all money.
I mean, you can't judge the book by its cover, as I always said. Floyd, I live his life, so he take care of thousands of people every month, and he's been doing it for over 21 years. His family, his friends, his girls, us, the amount of money that he pays every month is unbelievable. And, at some point, I don't care how rich you are, at some point you get tired of it, paying everybody. Paying your mom, uncle, niece, this, that. So at some point you get tired. But this man been doing it for 21 years. And, there are so many things behind the scene that a lot of people don't know about Floyd, and they judge him just because of, his look or wearing jewelry, this and that. I mean, the man is self-made. He worked for it.
They just believe what the media says.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's fine. Keep believing it because it's making them richer, and my job is more solidified every day.
Thanks for joining us here today, guys. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Of course.
And this has been fun. Tell us where we can see your vlogs when they're posted.
I'm not gonna let that go.
Oh, it's private?
No, everyone will. You'll see.
Oh,
when
I see.
I'm gonna come back on here and I'll let you guys know.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'd like to see how your week was.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Cool. And this will be 2 separate vlogs. So again, this is Ray Vinci, folks, and Greg LaRosa from the Money Team. And again, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor on Saturday. Pay-per-view only, so check it out. And by the way, quick plug for Mandalay Bay. We are showing closed circuit here at Light and at the theater as well.
And I believe the Foundation Room.
Yeah, so MGM Resorts is the only place you can watch the fight other than if you stay at home and order it. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM, Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're back. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We had a couple of the TMT security guys, Ray and Greg. They've been with him for a few years, and they seem pretty confident in Floyd Mayweather, their boss. They're throwing up 50 G's to win 10. Greg says possibly his house. They really look at it as easy work.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just the boxing world is so weird that would be the only thing that would hold me from doing something like that. But if I had the money, I would absolutely do something similar.
You know, yesterday I was listening to MMA Tonight, the new show that debuted on Sirius XM a few weeks ago. And I caught a little bit of Luke Thomas's show as well. And I want to make things clear for people, anybody that's listening. So I know a little bit about the gaming world. And it's not just because we've worked here for 8 years. You know, people are right there. But going back to what Joey Odessa said, as far as throwing a fight, you know, if there's one thing you can do when it comes to a fight, it's you can put a decent amount of money on it. However, I don't think you realize that you can't just, you know, even if somebody told you, hey, I'm throwing the fight, you know, and you had their mom gagged with a gun to their head and you for sure knew they were going to do it, you can't just walk into a casino and go, here's all of it, here's 200, 500, whatever you were rallied to get. They will stop you pretty much depending on the fight. We'll just use the UFC here as an example. I would say you could probably get down on 20, but a supervisor would come over and depending on your play, he may only allow you to put down 10. And so what you would need to do is go around town and do it. And guess what? You couldn't stop at the Luxor. You couldn't stop at Excalibur or MGM because all of MGM Resorts is linked. So right away, you eliminate them. And let's say you go to the Paris Hotel. And same thing. 10, maybe 20, depending on if you have a history of betting big. So what are you down for now? Give you the benefit of the doubt. You put 20 and 20. But now you can't go to all the other Harrah's locations, which is Caesar's Palace, the Rio, because you already worked at Paris. You already put some work in at Paris, Bally's. So now you got to go to the Wynn, for example. Let's say they let you go a little bit, but don't think that just because they're rivaling hotel chains, companies, whatever, that they don't communicate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't pretend that, oh, someone's tipping someone and all of a sudden they're going to go put, you know, even though they're making 60 grand on the fight, they'll make it back with the 600,000. I mean, they'd have to do this offshore. And again, usually you can only bet offshore what you have in your account, unless you call a book and you don't think that book's going to raise an eyebrow. When you say, hey, you know, I know I'm usually a $300 bettor and I usually bet my Giants every weekend, but guess what? I want to go 30. You trust me, right? I mean, that probably isn't going to go over too well. So that's one thing. The other thing that I keep hearing on these shows, and I swear to God, it's sometime, I don't want to say that. It's just, I guess, not knowing, is these prop bets. Prop bets are something where, again, even if you have the inside, like we'll say, just prop bets. They have prop bets out there.
The national anthem.
All right.
If you heard the rehearsal, you would have an insight, right?
Right. When you log online, if you have an account and you're making a play, the max is going to be like $25. Those prop bets have these small limits where they want you to have a little bit of fun. Even the Oscars. Hey, man, I just sealed the envelope. I work with that accounting firm that actually knows all the results. I just sealed the envelope. It turns out that Denzel is going to get Best Actor. Put all you got on it. Dude, even if you went on, the most you're going to be able to put is 25, maybe 100. They have limits on those prop bets. Mm-hmm. And the same goes for here. I mean, these hotels are just as savvy as the most seasoned gambler, if not more. A lot of them are former gamblers and cheats. So, you know, I know it's fun to talk about this at the water cooler and with your friends and conspiracies and this and that, but just know that, you know, you just cannot walk up there and do what you want. And it's the Wild West. And so everything you're hearing, a lot of it isn't true. Definitely not easy at all. Mm-hmm. Dan, Tom, welcome again to the show.
What's up, guys? Good
Love
to be here.
having you as part of the team. How However,
Uh-oh.
rather than say nice things about you right now, we're going to go to a break because we went so far with the money team that we have to take another one. But when we come back, Dan's going to talk with us a little bit more about yesterday's big news, which was not just Paulie Malignaggi and Conor McGregor verbally getting into it, but John Jones being flagged for potential anti-doping violation by USADA. So he's temporarily suspended as they look into it. And as far as those of you who are wondering if he will be stripped, TMZ Sports reported that he will be. Dana White was clear in that he hasn't been yet. That doesn't mean he won't be, and I suspect he will be, but he hasn't been as of when we started this show. So we'll try and get an update on that. What I suspect is this will work its way into a no contest if what happened, the allegations brought forth towards Jones are true. This would be a no contest, and Daniel Cormier would go back to being champion. But we'll figure all that out when we come back. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
I love it, but I love it. Oh, and I know she'll be the death of me. At least we'll both be numb, and she'll always get the best of me. The word.
To link into the MMA Junkie Radio Network, hit us up on twitter.com at MMA Junkie Radio. This is MMA Junkie Radio. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Folks, yesterday John Jones was alerted to the potential anti-doping violation by USADA. Both him and Cormier and Dana White all found out about the same time. This thing hit like an atomic bomb. We reached out to Cormier. He's vacationing with his family in Hawaii, but we plan to catch up with his head coach, Javier Mendez, here at the top of the hour. In the meantime, what he tested positive for was oral turinabol, and hopefully I'm saying that right. And Dan Tom's going to explain a little bit more about this unique anabolic steroid.
Yeah, from what I was reading, this is like essentially, and again, I'm not a doctor, I have no experience using any of this stuff, but this was essentially the base compound steroid they had in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, the Olympic Games. It's kind of based off of that. That's good for athletes because apparently it gives you that lean muscle mass. It's not really like your bulking steroid, how you associate the typical stereotype, but it helps kind of all the areas from the testosterone growth during, after, and keeps the estrogen levels apparently at a minimum. So in other words, this is great for athletes that have to beat tests and don't want to spook an eye test. And it's different though from what he tested at 200.
And isn't there a component that also helps is the red blood cells, which also helps with
oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the term stacking, when people are compounding their steroid use, those are terms used by bodybuilders and stuff. Apparently, stacking a base to that said stack of whatever they're using, this is usually kind of the base of it, if that makes any sense. So it kind of preps your body, whereas the stuff that John Jones tested positive for at 200, which was letrozole and clomiphene, that was more of a something you take a post-cycle therapy, post-cycle. Whether you're done with your cycle for health reasons and also for hiding detection reasons too, but again, he was unfounded. It was they ruled that it was kind of a what did they say? Not accidental, but they reduced his sentence now. But I don't. Yeah, now after this one, who knows? Because this is kind of the other end of the equation essentially.
We're getting ready to wrap up, but we gave our reactions. What was your reaction?
I wasn't surprised, man. I've been really hard on John Jones in the past. Anybody that knows me, and I've come around. I defended him a lot. I was really proud of how he handled himself after the Cormier fight. And then to kind of hear this, you think I would go immediately back to raising a torch, but I'm just so jaded. It's a very dim torch. I'm not surprised, to quote the Nate Diaz.
All right.
This was a little different.
It was a little different. I'm trying to keep it clean.
All right, folks. We're gonna do a quick commercial break with a sports update, and when we come back, we'll see if we can get Javier Mendez. He's traveling today, so we knew it'd be a little bit of a challenge, but we think we have a window in there. So stay close. We'll be right back.
The daytime, if you see it once, you'll never be the same again.
Let's take a journey.
I know a place where the grass is really greener, warm, wet and wild. There must be something in the water. Sipping gin and juice, laying underneath the palm trees. And the birds break their necks, trying to creep a little sneak peek.
What?
You could travel the world, but nothing comes close to the golden coast. Once you party with us, you'll be falling in love. Girls were unforgettable. Daisy Dukes, bikinis on top, sun-kissed skin so hot, pump up your popsicle.
Yeah, the camera's on, right? Dan Tom raising the roof over there.
Martinis,
Hey, Blue.
bikinis, no weenies.
I just blame you
Do
guys
that
for
thing
having
again?
this in my head.
What does that remind you of?
What is that?
This guy was doing that all last night.
Oh.
I just call these the South Park hands because we're animated.
All right, let's go over the big news while we try and get our next guest on. John Jones. Oops. Yes. You, Danny. John Jones being flagged. This is the way we have to phrase it. John Jones was flagged for a potential anti-doping violation, which means he pissed hot. And so now, there's just basically an adjudication process. You can't talk to fans out there and media who are raising eyebrows and retweeting his own tweets, and basically, they are already they put how many nails are on a coffin? I hate to be morbid here, but if let's just say there's maybe 4 on each side, I think there's 7 on most people's most people that are burying this guy, and they're ready. They're already starting to hammer in on the 8th. But there is an adjudication process, and we'll see how this plays out. He could be out up to 4 years because this is his second violation. It could also be 3 because the first one was there was, I guess, an agreement to shorten it to 1. So I don't know if they would go 2 years, over that, making it 3, or of course he could come back and win his appeal because his management has already put out a statement that they plan on testing the B sample and that this is a mistake.
A lot can happen in 3 years, though. And let's not forget, even if he comes back, is the UFC really going to be like, yeah, let's throw you on a card and let's put everything, the boat, put it all on you, when he just can't show that he can show up, perform, and get out? Something always happens.
Right. Well, he's going to have a lot to prove, too, because something I didn't mention. I did mention it's the same thing that Frank Mir popped for. Now, something to keep in mind, again, if anything in John Jones' defense, is that the thing with Mir's case is that it was a weird competition window, correct? And, I was just talking to Blue over there. He passed 7 tests, Jones, and, pops for the in competition. Right. Apparently, this is a sample collected right after the weigh-in. So you have another weird competition window. And what I didn't say about the Turinabol before is that they had trouble testing for the metabolites of this. So in other words, a deeper test similar to what the guys that get popped for marijuana get popped for. Well, the metabolites for steroids also have metabolites too. The problem is the WADA accredited labs have not been able to detect it until 2016, and not even all their labs were retrofitted to test for it. Now, according to them, in 2017, most of the WADA accredited labs now have this test. So now we're seeing more people get popped for this. But again, to put tinfoil hat, but in the other direction, where versus people already, hammering the nail on John Jones, is that he's going to have to, for his sake, come up with a better case than Frank Mir did to find out why this popped up. Because again, this is a new test, guys. Just because something, is done by an official, official accredited lab doesn't mean it's correct. We've seen missamples. Just like when the iPhone, it upgrades its, to the new iPhone. What happens? There's a bunch of recalls, right? You have to work out the kinks in technology, science. So that's why another reason why I'm kind of just taking my foot off the gas on this. Not so much the not surprised, but also, there's going to be B sample testing. There's going to be a long road ahead before we even get the 3 to 4 year sentence that Gigi was talking about.
Going back to what you said, Goes, that was a good point. Dana's usually there for his guys. Now, we know that him and Jones have had an acrimonious relationship as of late, but it got me thinking, why was that? Why wasn't there not a positive spin, but a, tap the brake spin, I guess? I think more than anything, Goes,
he just looked let down.
Let's just say that the B, I know for a fact the B sample's not going to come back anything different. I mean, it's basically the same urine and blood into two different cylinders or whatever they're called. So I've never known that to really. I think maybe 1 out of 1,000,000 or 100,000 that there has been some sort of a mistake, a flub there. But tainted supplement, all that. I'll wait to hear it. But what sucks, and I think what Dana might have been experiencing, I think what a lot of us are experiencing, is just so easy to forego that and come with the hammer and the nail. Is why does he even put us through this? You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, if there was a tainted supplement, how did we get to that point? I thought if anybody has the resources to test everything that's going into his body, it's this guy.
Who else has more
100%.
on the line? Why wouldn't you do that?
By the way, guys, speaking of the Dana White thing, remember when there used to be like a scrum after every event? Now it feels like whenever there's a scrum, it's like there's always like a positive. It's for batteries, and now as opposed to being a regular thing, like it feels like that Chappelle Show skit making the band. Like, I got some good news and I got some bad news. Good news is the event's still on. Bad news, we lost so and so. Like that's what it feels like the scrums are now, And this day and age is kind of crazy. I don't know.
For one day, this basically overshadowed Mayweather and McGregor. They had their arrivals and some small skirmishes that really didn't turn into much, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about that just because we're so far invested in this event on Saturday that I really thought, okay, we're going to talk to these parties. Audie Attar will join us, but then I saw that this wrecking ball that dropped with Jones, and I was like, wow, I didn't know how to contain my emotions of, like, I always say when you wake up in the morning, you don't know what to expect. That's what makes the sport unique. There's highs and there's lows, but man, some of these are shots to the belly. And so by that I also mean, Goes is right. Like, what is DC going through right now?
It's got to be. It's your worst moment in front of millions and millions of people, and you find out that you didn't even you shouldn't have gone through that. It was a mistake. How fucking terrible is that?
Yeah.
You can't get that back.
He went through it twice too. If you think about it, that whole humiliation going through the training camp to fight this guy, and again, you can't.
Well, three.
He had
a few training camps, but let's just go with 3 because 2 fights happened, and then the one that got shut down at UFC 200 was basically the end of a training camp. I know there was another postponement, but they weren't deep into their camps. But that's I feel for Cormier, and on a selfish note, I was 4-0 going into that fight. I'd love to know that fight's not going to count for me. It's going to go down as a no contest for them, but I sure would like to get that back and just get paid on my 14 parlay. And fantasy fighters out there that might have shipped a fucking belt because they lost based on the fight. I mean, there is that feeling of like something was taken away.
But you saw his reaction after the fight, right? He has to process all those emotions, okay? Himself. Then he's got to deal with family, right? He's got kids. He may have brothers and sisters where he has to almost face the music and go to them and say, what happened? This is what happened. This is why I'm second best to this guy.
Right.
Having that conversation sucks. It's a terrible thing to have to do. And he had to do it. And now he's got a whole flood of emotions coming in where, maybe it wasn't so bad, but he still suffered what he suffered. It's a roller coaster for that guy.
And you can make an argument that the purgatory state that he's almost caught into because of this makes it more difficult. Like, hell doesn't sound fun, but at least, a loss is a loss with that weird kind of analogy that I just made. But this kind of puts it, in a weird spot where, like you said, he still has the emotions that he had to process, but now he has to process it again for what, and where does he ultimately end up? And yeah, you can't help but feel for the guy, because like Gigi was saying, aside from the 2 fights that did happen, even the fight that didn't happen at 200, he still got caught on camera, being vulnerable, having his emotions shook up, poor guy, yeah, so it's really I don't want to say a lose-lose all around, but man, it's kind of hard to put a positive spin on this, right, guys?
Yeah, this is catastrophic, man. For the 205 division, for the history of the sport. I mean, we're calling him the greatest of all time. Many were, because he beat his greatest foe twice. He finished him this time versus the first time. They went to a decision. He overcame all that adversity. He's never really had any other losses. We'll put the Hamill fight to the one side, and in the meantime, other fighters have dropped out or retired or whatever. I mean, I guess Demetrius still has an argument, but he also has those 2 losses. That's why John Jones was catapulted right back to the top, because Cormier had also accomplished a lot.
Yep. So
to beat him, it meant something. And now it's like, you're just stealing all that history, erasing our hard drives, from all this, and then here's the other thing. People started going with the argument of like, well, yeah, just let them have it all. Just let them have it all. Again, like, the commissions won't allow it. The sport won't be able to be regulated. But what we're left with is rules, and someone didn't follow them, and so what that does is it forces us to wonder if he would have beat him with it or without it.
Yeah,
he's got an incredible skill set.
You don't have to.
He may have been capable of beating all those guys without it, but now we have to wonder, like, well, could he have? Like, what were we watching? Like,
we don't have to wonder that, though. He does. He's the guy that felt he couldn't do it, and that's why he did what he did. He's telling you he couldn't have done it without it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it.
And aside,
do you think he cheated all his fights?
Well, I don't know.
And that's the thing. Even if you want to be like, well, objectively, I think without steroids, I think John Jones could still beat A guy, B guy, C guy. And even if you're one of those people, you still have to, at the very least now, leave that open to consideration at the very least, because that you have to now, and that's
right.
That's what you're saying.
Smart, intelligent, knowledgeable fans, media fans will have those discussions.
Yep.
If you want to be crazy John Jones nut hugger and say, it doesn't matter, go off and do that. Honestly, go off and do that. But if you really want to have intelligent conversations, I mean, we are going to be left to wonder, and that's so unfortunate, man.
What pisses me off a little bit too is this is a week where, don't forget, it's boxing, but it features one of MMA's biggest stars. So the eyes are on boxing, but they're also on MMA.
Yeah.
And right now, the biggest news in MMA is our best guy can't get his shit together.
Yeah, 100%, especially when that's the guy they're trying to groom to fill the Ronda and Conor spots, because you're going to have the dominance part. You don't have to worry about that, just getting this guy to show up, and the marketing will take care of itself. But again, that middle link, getting him to show up, clean up, or whatever definition you want to have to that, is tough. And it's extra tough to defend, because even though he hasn't admitted to using steroids, he's admitted to eye pokes, drugs, doing everything, almost everything else, and he's openly admitted to. And so it's really hard to, you stack up the positive test and then the bad behavior outside the cage, and all these areas, all these different things. It's really hard to defend the guy, man. It really is.
Let's talk to DC's head coach. He's ready to join us now. We'll keep it short because he is traveling to Vegas, so we'll catch up with him. He's Javier Mendez. What's up, Javier? How you doing?
No, not much, you guys. I guess lots going on, huh?
Yeah. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes and Dan, Tom, our newest guy here. Javier, when you heard the news, what did you feel, man?
Well, when I heard, just shock. I was like, get the F out of here. This isn't real. One of my fighters texted me, said that he saw it on TMZ. I'm like, it can't be real. It's bullshit. It's not real. But then next thing you know, Ariel, he texts me and he said, you looked at the news, and then I knew it was real when Ariel texted me. So, yeah, no, it's just been a shock.
Yeah, and have you spoken to DC?
No, I didn't even try. He's on vacation in Hawaii with his family. I'm sure he doesn't need us. Oh, did you hear? He probably was the first one to hear about it, so I'm assuming he's, based on the message he sent out to the fans that, hey, he's emotional right now with a lot of things going through his head, and he wants to wait for due process to make sure that this is what really happened. It wasn't a mistake, that type of thing. So he's emotional right now at the present time, I would think, and rightfully so.
What do you feel towards John Jones right now, Javier?
I don't know. I don't really know, because it's he still has opportunity to to see what happened. I mean, I was feeling really good about him as the way he was acting after the fight. So I was thinking, hey, this guy's changed. He's coming around. He became. I don't know. I was saying, hey, maybe this has all been good for him, but was he pulling the, I don't know. What was he doing? Was he really being real, or is he just being acting well?
Right. Well, I mean, I guess if we fast forward, and if these allegations were to prove to be true, I mean, how you spent so much time preparing for him as a rival, and I mean, we're trying to even put into words how we would feel. It's like this would be the second time, and then with everything else that he has, in his personal life, we almost feel defrauded.
If you want to go fast, yeah, right. If you want to go fast forward, and it is proven that it's a fact, then I'd be really upset, because you robbed yourself, you robbed the public, and you robbed DC of the opportunity to find a clean fighter to really see who really is the pound for pound, greatest light heavyweight of all time. You robbed him of that. You robbed yourself of that. If we're going fast forward and he's proven to be guilty, then it would be really one of those, what did you do to your career? You effed up your career,
right.
And then you effed up somebody else's career that played by the rules, Again, that's if we're going fast forward.
Right. Javier Mendez, the head coach at AKA, joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. Goes, what do you have for Javier?
Javier, on that same topic of fast forward, if that did happen, and you had the opportunity to talk to John, what would you say to him?
I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know him, and I don't think I say anything to him. He is who he is. They just accept him as that and move forward. I'm hoping it's not. Because you'd like to think that he has changed. So, we'll leave it at that. But, all fingers are pointing that he hasn't changed.
How do you feel the people will remember John Jones?
If this doesn't get cleared and it goes the way it is, he's going to be known as the greatest that could have, would have, should have, never has been.
Dan, Tom, what do you have for
this? I mean, it's
Oh, go ahead, Javier.
Well, it's just the same like Lance Armstrong, He's the greatest cyclist of all time, but then they proved he cheated, and what happened? Where's Lance Armstrong now?
No, I got
What's he known as? That's what's going to happen here. Because, I mean, how is it not possible for people to think, has he ever been clean? If it's just proven that he is dirty again, has he ever been clean? So is all his UFC fights, were they any of them clean? Yeah, you have to question that, and everybody's going to question that. I definitely would question that. But again, he still has due process, so he still has an opportunity to clear himself. And if he does, then all of this is just talk, because then he's cleared himself.
100%, Javier. I guess my question would kind of bank off of Go's, and you already answered, what you would say to him if you had the chance, hypothetically. But my hypothetical is, let's just say hypothetically you weren't the coach of AKA. We know that everybody respects you and your fighters there. But let's just say put yourself now in John Jones' coach. You're Greg Jackson or whoever. You're actually his coach now. Does your positions change as far as what you would say? And if so, what would you say if you were John Jones' coach, not Javier Mendez?
Well, if I was John Jones' coach, I would console him. I would try to figure out what went wrong, and I would try to work with him and see how we could fix it. Their job as a coach is to help him, not to throw sticks at him. It's to help him. So if I was his coach, I'd be looking to help him. And if he was dirty, then I'd look at ways again to help him, and just try to see how we can clear this mess up. That's what I would be doing if I was his coach. That's what I would be doing. I'd be looking to help him.
Javier, what do you say to the fans? Because this will always happen. This happens every time someone gets flagged for a potential anti-doping violation. Hey, just let them all juice.
I would just say to the fans that, if this has come out that he did do it, that everybody got robbed. Everybody got robbed of a true fight between two clean fighters. And I'd say I'm sorry.
No. But what I mean is, every time something like this happens, a lot of fans just say that the simple solution is to let all the athletes just take all the performance-enhancing drugs that they would like. How do you answer those that say that?
Well, for me, it's like, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but what about the health of the fighters? That's not important, the health of their well-being after fighting. So go ahead and drug up, do everything you can, and hurt your body to the point where you don't have a comfortable life after fight. I mean, what do you say about that? Is that these guys are pit bulls and all they are is bred for that, and after that they're put out where? I mean, no, it should be clean fighting. It should be, everybody should take care of themselves. It shouldn't be like free for all.
You've been in the sport of mixed martial arts for a long time. Do you wake up happy every day? Are you a happy person because you're involved in the sport, or are there times like this where it's just incredible disappointment? You think of other stuff to do?
I never think of other stuff to do, but it definitely is one of those deals where it's hard to wake up, and sometimes sometimes you just want to stay in bed and let it all go away. But unfortunately, that's not the way it goes. You're going to have your ups and downs, and this is always going to be the roller coaster that I'm in, and for the rest of my life. So, I'm getting used to it. Sometimes you get hit blindsided, but the feelings you're getting used to.
Last question. What about McGregor and Mayweather? Your thoughts on that fight taking place on Saturday? Are you watching it?
Well, obviously I'm going to Vegas to be around all that energy, from the crazy Irish fans. It's great to be around it. I don't know what to make of it. I've been following up on everything that's going on, and my feeling is that Mayweather has requested for 8-ounce gloves because he wants to make a statement, and I feel that Mayweather can't allow McGregor to go past, really 6 rounds, and really that's a win if he does. So I think he's going to try to take him out. Otherwise, why risk having this guy have 8-ounce gloves? So I think Mayweather's coming out there to take care of business, and we'll see what happens. But in all likelihood, it's going to be Mayweather's hand's going to get raised, whether it be by TKO or 12-round decision. But I don't think Mayweather wins if it's past 6 rounds, because even if he beats him, he doesn't win.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us here on the show. Such a disappointing news yesterday, and like you said, maybe this thing clears up and it won't matter. But for now, I guess all we can do is just sit here and wonder maybe what could have been, because you know how it goes with these cases. Usually overturns are highly unlikely. But thank you for sharing some time with us here on the show today.
All right, you guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, we'll see.
Bye.
Bye. Javier Mendez, the coach of AKA. If you want to follow him on Twitter, you should follow him on Twitter. He's been doing this for a long time. He's been coached to champions like Cain Velasquez, Luke Rockhold, Josh Thompson, Daniel Cormier. So he definitely knows what he's doing. AKA Jav. AKA JAV. Let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. When we come back, we'll see if we can link up with Audie Attar. We also have the phone lines open if you want to call in, 866-522-2846. I'd love to know what your reaction is to the news yesterday of John Jones having a potential anti-doping violation. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Oh, you are my sunrise on the darkest day. Got me feeling some kind of way. Make me
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Blockbuster trade in the NBA as Kyrie Irving has been traded to the Celtics for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and Ante Zizic, and a first-round pick, too. For all the latest news and reaction, tune in to NBA Radio, Sirius Channel 207, XM Channel 86, and all night long on Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. How about that? Isaiah Thomas, point guard for the Celtics. His problem is he's low 30s. I think he's like 31 or 32. Kyrie Irving's a lot younger, and that's why I think they had to give these other players and a first-round draft pick because they're both stud point guards. But one's got the youth. But I will say this, Isaiah Thomas, man, he had some great moments in the fourth quarter for the Celtics. Hell yeah! So he's no joke, but they had to give up a little bit more. So Irving goes to the Celtics, and Thomas goes to Cleveland. And as we all know, LeBron will stay in Cleveland one more year. So this is pretty much I think they have to get it done, or LeBron might bolt. Might bolt.
That's nice of him though to give them one more year. Thanks, LeBron.
Let's talk to Hal in Chicago. What's up, Hal? How you doing?
Despacito. What's up, boys?
What's up?
How you doing?
Dante in the house? Blue and Dante? They up in there?
No.
I saw Blue earlier, but I don't know where's that. Dante still in town?
Wow, they didn't answer the bell?
Dante, actually, Blue just walked around the corner right now, and then Dante was leaving this morning.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's, I mean, you know what it's like, how everybody's got that dumb face right now.
Oh, man. I have a special request. You know, Blue's a man of many talents. He is the hashtag internet sensation. And, you know, it's a big fight if Blue bought a ticket to it, so he's going to be at the Mayweather. So, but people don't know he's a good singer. So a request, if he's around, maybe coming in and out of commercial or to end the show, he could sing his famous song, Hellfire. Oh, man. That would be awesome.
Okay, but, we'll work on something.
What is the line on Mayweather right now? What are you guys looking at that?
It just went up to 550. Earlier, when the guys from TMT were here, it was literally 525. I stared at it. It matched this sheet that we have here, and all of a sudden it went up to 550. And I tried to ask Joey Odessa about this yesterday. What makes it go from 525 to 550? If I had to guess, probably about $50,000 in action. I'm not saying one person went up and did it. I'm saying collectively.
I always thought the number like 100.
$100?
No, 100,000.
Oh, well, maybe 100. Yeah, I don't know. Could be 25, could be 50, could be 100. Wow. But I just threw that out there. That's probably what would move it. And so maybe somebody that put. So you're saying someone that put 100 to make 20?
Well, not one guy, but just like collectively in maybe a couple hours or something. You know.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But
what do you
know, if you think about it, yesterday, well, no hablas, cabrón. If you think about it yesterday, if you think about it yesterday, we heard a stat where 9 out of 10 bets are being written on Conor. So it could be goes that one person did come up, or the last 20 bets that were made, 2 people did it. But yeah, I mean, it's a small fraction. Whoever's coming is coming strong for Mayweather to make that go back up to 550.
Yeah, because remember the Conor bets, the average bet was $50, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it would take a lot.
Well, yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah. How?
Yeah, I mean, hashtag did you know, right? For people that are gambling, you want to know where the money is, not where all the tickets are. I mean, that's kind of good to know. But all the tickets may be on Conor, but I still feel like all the money is going to be on Mayweather, right?
No. The books need Mayweather to win. Everyone's betting Conor McGregor. Yeah. Even though there's smaller bets, all those smaller bets are outdoing the Mayweather bets. Otherwise, the line wouldn't have dropped from 25 to 1, 12 to 1, down to what's currently 550 to 1. So they're making it so that it's less lucrative for you to pay, win on McGregor. So when it was 12 to 1 or 10 to 1 on McGregor, and you're like, fuck yeah, here's the money. Well, so much of it was coming, they needed to make it less attractive for you to take McGregor, so they're paying you less now. You're only going to make 350 if McGregor wins. So it starts to make you think, well, shit, maybe I got it all wrong. Maybe I should be going on Mayweather. And so they're trying to make it attractive on the other side. Joey Odessa did say yesterday at some point a casino does have to take a stand, though. You don't want to expose yourself to both sides either.
I'm willing to bet that most of the money is still going to be on Mayweather, and the casinos are just setting the trap for people. I mean, even Odessa said on Twitter, "I've never seen anything like this. Have you guys?"
Yeah, and it's all McGregor money.
It's funny. It's like talking about tickets versus money. The narrative of this fight is one factor, and I think the narrative gets represented in the tickets, right? 9-1 Conor over Floyd, but kind of like what Hal said. At the end of the day, you at least want to know where the money's going, whether you're hard into it or not. So from the numbers side, we're seeing this weird thing right now. So especially right now because we don't know who's coming in this week for the quote unquote whales and big bets. One would say those probably haven't happened yet. That may come closer to weigh-in time traditionally. But right now, you have a bunch of people on Conor's side going, "Oh my God, the numbers dropping. Going for plus 500, plus 400. They want to get in to get as much money as they can get back on Conor. Whereas the smart bettors on the other side for Floyd are like, oh my goodness, this number, it shouldn't have got this low in the first place. It's not going to last long. Let's get it now before it inflates back up. So essentially, you have two people, people rooting on different sides of the equation, but their action is almost keeping it in this weird region that we're seeing right now, where we can't believe, Conor's line or Floyd's line, and everybody on each side is competing and almost keeping the line there, at least right now, before the big plays come in.
I've also heard one other thing. Conor bettors, a lot that have gone up and bet, they don't even care what the line is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't want to call it amateur hour, because whether you did it on Floyd or Conor, it's just that's how much they believe in Conor. They're not asking what the odds are. They're not shopping for the odds. A lot of them aren't even getting to the point where because a lot of times you'll go, hey, I just, 350, so here's 100, look at the ticket. They're just going hand over fist because they just want to be a part of the action. That's how much belief they have in their guy. I do want to be clear about one thing, Hal. More bets have been ridden on Conor McGregor. More money's been taken in on Conor McGregor. But the bigger size bets have been coming in on Floyd Mayweather. And I can't make you privy to a conversation I had with somebody here at Mandalay Bay. I was almost going to tell you the whole thing, but I thought I'd better check with them. But yesterday, before the show, I go, just to be clear, I go, you guys need Mayweather, right? And he said, pfft. He goes, yeah, for about, and then he threw the number. But his reaction alone led me to believe they need McGregor to lose because so much money has come in, and the payout will be so massive on
all
them.
those small little pots, huh? They just amount to a lot.
Well, there was also weren't there rumors of people also didn't Schaub put money on them, and I mean it's not like all the big money's come in. I mean there's a fair share of big bets that have been put on Conor McGregor that aren't just $50 or $500. They're in the thousands. Hal, thanks for the call, man. We got to move on. Showtime in Tennessee. What's up, Showtime? It's yo time.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man.
Fellas.
What's up, Showtime?
What's going on, Dan Tom, man? I love the new edition, man. I love it, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. I love to have you on there with your knowledge, man. I think you guys work well together, too, so that's a perfect mesh. Man, really, with this fight this weekend, unless I'm going to bet the under or something, it's not even really worth me even betting it, man, because I'm not going to bet enough money to where Floyd won that it would, if I just took $50 and put it on Conor, I don't even care about, that's the only way I would bet, and I'm going for Floyd, and I think Floyd would win. So you're right, the big players with the 50,000, 100,000, however much, got that much money just to bet, just to, they get guaranteed money to bet. That's okay, but like play. But I'm not gonna bet that type of money. It's not even worth it, man. I'll just watch it, drink me some beer, and wait for the UFC fight.
Okay, all right. Let me stop you there. If you were walking here at the Mandalay Bay and you found $100, you'd pick it up and go, hell yeah! You'd be pretty stoked, right? Any of us would, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people feel like it's that easy, and I know Showtime does well for himself because I just saw him buy himself a new truck. Got a beautiful house. It's not that tough to go to the ATM and go pull out $500, $550 in this case, go up, put your play in, and about 15 minutes later go up and pick up 100. It should be about the same thing if you're really feeling that way. No risk.
Yep.
Showtime, where are you gonna watch?
That will pay for your beer for the night. I mean,
Showtime, where are you gonna watch the fight?
I mean, you're right. Man, you know what? I don't know yet. I don't know. I may be at home this weekend because I just left Texas. I've been in Texas, man, since last week. and I'm headed to Indiana, then I may be at home. So as much as I said I wasn't going to do it, I'll probably get suckered into buying it. Because if I go home, I know I'm going to buy it.
Hey guys, food for thought, because we got a parlay fan on the line with Showtime. Now I might be creating myself some more work with the hamster wheels I got going in my head, but now I wonder if the real money makers are going to be looking to parlay, because like they say, boxing favorites come in a lot more than MMA favorites do, right? Less intangibles to deal with, so on and so. If you're a boxing head and you know like who's on the undercard and who the other fights are, you could say just find 2 solid legs that are like minus 250.
Badou Jack's a heavy favorite, or a lot of people are really high on him.
Yeah, I mean, you take 2 of those guys, let's say they're in the minus 250 range, and you pair them up, 2 solid legs with a Floyd straight up. Don't mess with the props. Just take them straight up at minus 550, and you got 2 guys maybe in the minus 250 range. You could be looking at a plus money, maybe, and even like a plus 100 is usually what I try to aim for with those 3 to 5 legs that Gigi talks about. But just food for thought if anybody wants to have fun and maybe get some positive money off something with Floyd without having to pick the exact round and the exact method and worry and sweat that. That's just some food for thought for you boxing heads out there.
All right. Good call, Dan. I like it. There's some big favorites coming up in MMA too. I mean, Jermaine Durandam, he's like minus 325 or so. Demetrius Johnson's minus 1100. Although I think Borg's tough, and I'm not calling the prediction. I just don't want to have my money in there on a guy that can wrestle and is just as tough as Borg. I think he's gonna have a good fight on his hands that night. I still think he'll prevail, but I don't want to sweat it. Thanks, Showtime, for the call. We got to move on. Let's go to Jim in Long Beach. What's up, Jim? How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm just I'm already sick of USADA. They're ruining all the fights. I mean, how do they let this fight go? And then now all of a sudden they're saying John Jones tested dirty. I mean, if they keep this kind of stuff up, we won't have any good fights left. And
well, this test that they gave him was on weigh-in day after he had weighed in. So there was no way they were going to, within 24 hours, be able to get the results. Now, unlike Brock Lesnar, which I think was closer to 3 weeks, that one definitely could have been expedited. We found out, I think, what does it get? Do you guys remember? Can it get shortened to 48 hours or something like that?
Yeah, it can. It costs a lot of money.
No, it's not that much money.
I heard, I was say what I heard is it's not what people think.
Right, but it can be done for a big fight. This one was a little bit closer to, but if your gripe is with USADA in general, I'm okay. I'd like to hear it. But as far as the testing went, that's how it went down. That would have been really, really tough to flag.
It's all the people that made their bets. People that say if you bet on you lose your money. There's a lot of people that bet it on DC. So what happens to them? Do they get their money now if they reverse it?
No, they don't. What I'm wondering is if you had a John Jones ticket and you still were just lazy, you flew home, you haven't mailed it in, and this thing gets ruled a no contest, then when you submit it, will they go, we're not paying you, it's a no contest? I've always told people, as soon as the fights are over, rush to the line before anything happens, before they find out what the mistakes might be, and get paid. I hear what you're saying, Jim. I was 4-0, and I'm not getting mine back, but I guess the flip side is maybe there's times where you could be maybe it could benefit you too,
Online books is difficult.
Let's say you did hit John Jones on a straight, and you go in there and do it, and then they flag it and no contest. Well, they can't get the money back from you either. So but it sucks, Jim. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, bud. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
I don't even say.
You step on attack or what?
Nah, dude. Like this whole John Jones thing has got me reeling. I'm upset. I piss off. I feel fooled. And how stupid. I mean, how stupid is this guy? A weigh-in test. I assume he's been tested the whole way through, and he knows that he's getting tested right after the fight, because you got the post-fight test. How stupid is this motherfucker, dude? I feel for Daniel Cormier, dude, because in this whole freaking ordeal, Daniel Cormier is the one getting screwed left and right. I'm done defending John Jones, man. There is no Christmas, there is no Easter Bunny, there is no Santa Claus. Screw John Jones. I hope they throw the book at him, because I don't want to get disappointed anymore. And Daniel Cormier is a true champ. And let's make the Gustafsson fight. And if anybody ever say that Cormier is a paper champion, they can go suck it. We'll release you guys. Catch you guys tomorrow.
See you, Marco.
After everything that John has put everyone through up until this fight, being able to come back and still win over the crowd and have people cheering for him, I thought was remarkable. If he were to come back again and fight, do you think the crowd would still do that? Or
No,
is this
no,
it?
man.
Is this
Jones,
the straw?
Jones fans are loyal, and he's an enemy. I know that a little bit of a olive branch was extended. You know, Jones was very respectful afterwards. So maybe a few people, but from what I can tell, just John Jones can do no wrong, and I think he'd have to actually this one would have to not go in his favor. Probably some sort of a 3-4 year banishment, you know, and then maybe then a few people might go, wow, I guess we're rooting for a villain this whole time. But for the most part, until that day's come and gone, then they're still feeling like, you know, they're with their guy. We got to take a commercial. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. When we come back, we'll talk to Audie Attar, the head dog over there at Paradigm MMA, their president, and that, of course, is the management group that oversees Conor McGregor's career. So we'll be right back after this break.
Let's see. Up, up, down, down, left, right. BA, start. You told me that code would get rid of them. Yeah, well, they're still here. Okay, but now they know I tried to kill them. Hold on, Mom. Here are George and Goes.
All right, we're going to jump right into it. We're joined by the president of Paradigm Management Group in Mixed Martial Arts, one of the top management groups in the world. They have as clients world champions Conor McGregor, Michael Bisping, and contenders like Tony Ferguson, Chris Weidman. So they definitely have some beasts there also going into football and baseball. Quite a year for these guys. Let's bring in the president, Audie Attar. What's up, Audie? How you doing?
Hey, James. How are you?
Good, man. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes. We also have our newest addition, Dan Tom, with us. Thanks for doing the show.
Thank you for having me on. Sorry about not being able to come to studio. I definitely want to try to get over there sometime during this fight week.
I don't get it. What could he possibly have going on in his life right now?
It's not like he's one of the busiest guys out there, yeah. Audie, hey, you always like to stay behind the scenes, but yesterday, man, you were kind of forefront before that thing came out with Conor and Paulie. If anybody hit the rewind button, it was early on. It was you and Paulie that were exchanging words.
Well, I think look, we were doing our thing and attending kind of like the grand arrival and handling media obligations. And I think Paulie was in the back, and I think everybody in the group started to notice him. Even some other team members had mentioned something, and it seemed like he was trying to get my attention. And so I looked, and I was startled initially. I'm like, come on, Paulie, like, let it go. But ultimately, I kind of spoke my piece, and he spoke his. But look, I again, he seems like a really nice guy. I don't know. He says he's only talking because, of a picture. And I think Conor set the record straight as it relates to what happened with that first initial picture. But after that, I think he may not have been used to the volume of media attention that Conor brings. Mm-hmm. So whether it's as a sparring partner or even now, credit to him, he's trying to position himself for a potential future fight. Well, and I don't blame him, but it just strikes me odd that he couldn't just avoid everybody, no matter how much attention it was getting and how many people were just asking the same question over and over again. Not to mention the trolls. Mm-hmm. I can understand, yes, someone, but it doesn't excuse you for breaking any agreement that you make as it relates to confidentiality.
And that's what it seemed like you were telling him, was that he spoke out of contract, and so, I guess, has he admitted any guilt on his side in that regard? Because we do know that like Cortez and himself and the other sparring partners had to sign an NDA. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think Conor said it best. Let's just get over it, move on, because we are, and we have. So we're now just focused at the task at hand, August 26th, and I think Paulie was an instrumental kind of teammate, sparring partner that we needed as it relates to just making sure Conor gets ready and hones his craft ahead of this big match. So all in all, it's just time to move on. That's what it comes down to. Audie, what are you most proud of everything that's happened leading up to this fight? Is there something you can point to and say, hey, I really had a big role here, whether it's bringing a big sponsor aboard or your role in getting this fight going? Is there anything that you can thump your chest at?
Well, look, I'm actually just proud to be a part of this entire thing from start to finish. We're a part of every aspect of this thing, from the beginning of it to where it is now, up until even fight night operation. So it's been an honor. UFC has been great partners. We've worked really well together. I think you're learning a different kind of run a show as it relates to boxing compared to MMA, but we're adapting. We're staying on our toe. We're taking it all in, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Mm-hmm. Audie Attar, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, is the president of Paradigm MMA Management. Well, no, I should say Paradigm Management, Sports Management, because outside of MMA they have NFL and MLB, so they definitely get down over there in the OC. Goes, what do you have for Audie?
Conor McGregor, he's very hands-on with everything. Do you like that in a client, and is he the most hands-on client that you have?
I love it. I love it in all my clients when they have that type of engagement, because for me as a former athlete, it's something that we as a company subscribe to is helping these athletes not only maximize their career, but helping them develop the skill sets that's going to allow them to sustain a healthy life long after their career is over. And that's in any field, whether it's business or what have you. So I like it. I think it's good. At the end of the day, too, I think when you have a track record, 4 years, Connor and I, it's smooth now. We understand each other, and we can critically think through things a lot faster than we could, let's say, when we first started working together 4 years ago, even though he was still an up-and-coming prospect. So, it's been fun, man. It's been a great journey, and I look forward to, continuing to take this thing to new heights. But it starts with shocking the world yet again on August 26th.
Audie, we got a couple more questions. Can you hang in there with us for a couple minutes of OT?
Sure.
All right, folks, let me do a soft ending here for the SiriusXM audience. You will get more sports, combat sports, and entertainment headed your way. So keep it locked on Channel 93 here on SiriusXM. Also, the rest of you, you can head on over to OT at MMAJunkie.com/official MMA Junkie or YouTube.com/MMA Junkie video. We'll be right back in about 15 seconds. We're talking to Audie Attar, the president of Paradigm Sports Management.
Down the drain, fever, Las Vegas turning day into nighttime, turning night into daytime. If you see it once, you'll never be the same again. I'm gonna keep on the run, I'm gonna have me some fun. It cost me my very last dime. If I wind up,
You guys are clear for overtime.
Go ahead, guys.
Audie, when it comes to this whole, we'll just call it the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather saga, looking back, what would you say is the biggest misconception in all of this?
I think the biggest misconception is how everybody's just thinking that Conor's some novice boxer, or that this is the first time he's ever boxed in his life. I mean, that was the founding martial art that he took up as a young boy, and obviously then got into mixed martial arts. But I mean, Irish kids are actually taught boxing. It's a huge national sport as it relates to combat sports within Ireland. So that was something that he took up right away. And then obviously, if you look at his style, I mean, he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's getting better constantly there. And he focuses on complete unarmed combat as it relates to his training and movement. But in this camp, it's been all boxing. But it's not like he's never thrown hands. And that's, I think, the biggest misconception that I've seen in this process. But I like that because it makes us the underdog, and it's just going to be even sweeter when we shock the world, because I think everybody on our team believes in his skills. And in this camp, they've just gone to a whole nother level as it relates to his boxing.
And by the way, you mentioned the term underdog. The money keeps pouring in on McGregor. He is now plus 350, and this kid was plus four numbers a few months ago, when this thing was being proposed. So I don't know if you've heard this, but 9 out of 10 bets made comes in on Conor McGregor, and it's pretty wild, Audie. I mean, we've seen this number drop considerably from when it was first talked about to when it was announced.
There's going to be a lot of bank loans from these bookies and these gambling companies that have seen probably 80-90% of their bets be in Conor's favor. So, at the end of the day, though, we don't really focus on that stuff really too much. It's out there. We talk about it. When we do interviews in media like I'm doing right now, it's obviously asked. It's a natural question. But when you go in there, there's no thinking of odds and underdog and things of that nature. It's a straight-up athletic competition at the highest level. And so it's may the best man win, and I'm bullish on the idea that we're going to shock the world come Saturday, August 26th.
Now, Audie, I like the word you used earlier in this interview in regards to the whole boxing camp and the whole boxing word, and you used the word adapt. And we're media, we're not psychics, so we only know what we see to a certain extent. But what we see, it looks like you guys have adapted really well from how you guys are handling the events, the adjustments you made within the tour, to even yes, personal reactions you're able to get from pros in the sport, such as Paulie Malignaggi. It would seem that you guys are adapting very well. So I guess my question with the adaptation in mind from a manager perspective perspective. Is this experience kind of giving you a new outlook on how you want to pursue maybe cross promotional things with fighters, not just with Conor? I mean, we obviously know your relation to him, but lest we not forget the people listening that, Audie represents a lot of top people in the UFC, including Bellator, which also does kickboxing. So again, kind of a broad question there, but as far as the many options in the combat sports world, is this kind of opening your eyes to how you're going to approach stuff with your fighters in the future?
I think we've always kind of had that open vision, if you will. I mean, Rico Verhoeven, Glory Heavyweight Champion, is a client of ours who's arguably one of the best kickboxers in the sport's history, and he wants to also cross over to MMA. So we've always kind of been open to the idea of doing unique things within combat sports. I think I've always believed there's been crossover, and I think now with being able to set this precedent, it's great for us. But you can't really plan these things. You have all the right ingredients and synergies have to really align for something like this to be able to happen, really, because there's so many moving parts and stakeholders that you have to mobilize and get on board that it just has to make sense for all parties involved for something like this to go down.
Audie, final question. Are you able to announce what sponsors will be riding in with Conor? We saw the nice Versace robe, but what about everything else?
Unfortunately, George, I can't share that information, but tune in August 26th, and you're going to see some, not only some fireworks, but he's always going to look good doing it as well.
Have the decisions been made, or is this something you guys are still working on?
No, it's been made.
Oh, okay.
It's been made.
Cool.
We're just waiting. Yeah.
All right. Audie, thanks for the time. If
All
you
right.
can get down here, we'd love to have you here in studio. All right, bud?
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. We are out of here. I want to thank Zach for making the Audie Attar interview happen. Zach Pavkov. Also, got to give a shout-out to myself for bringing in the TMT guys.
Pretty fantastic.
Well, yeah, I took it to a new level there. And also, shout-out to myself again for landing up Javier Mendez. So, tomorrow we'll be back for another edition of MMA Junkie Radio as we get closer, finally, to this Mayweather-McGregor matchup on Saturday. Your plans, Dan? Where are you going to watch it? You know yet?
I'm up in the air right now,
Still
man,
up
to be
in the
honest.
air?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
we got to come up with a plan. We might have a good solution. I don't know. Still working on it ourselves, but most people I'm talking to, including myself, who were not going to watch it, are starting to come around. I'm hearing people plan out their weekend, so I think the attention will always be good for the sport,
100%.
And I just want to see some competition for 2-3 rounds. I'm happy. Like Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns, they only gave us 3 rounds, but it's something we still talk about.
Yeah.
But if it could just be, Conor swinging, putting some offense out there, and then whatever the result is, I'm happy, man. I just don't want to see a 12-minute tooling, and I'll take a knockout in 7 seconds on either side. I don't want to see Mayweather tooling them for 12 rounds. That would be a loss for Mayweather.
Yep.
And then after that, I just want to see some competition.
I just want order to be restored in the universe.
Yeah, there we go. I'm with that. The MMA universe.
Yeah, make things make sense again.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, folks. We're out of here. For Dan and Goes, Danny back east, I'm George. Go out there and be champions.